Hey everybody, Coach here. How you doing? Happy weekend Friday to you, depending on when you open this. Hey, we are already in the month of July, smack dab heading to the heat of summer already. If you think June took its time getting out of here, man, July is on top of us already. Hey, you know what that means? You have to bear with me on this intro just a little bit because I got a little bit of pride going on here. Okay, so July is our first anniversary of Yard Coach, both here on the YouTube channel and the podcast. And I'm kind of like a proud papa, you know, because I really didn't know what we were getting into and to the depth of what we're getting into now. And here we are. We're on our first anniversary. And because it's an anniversary, we have a couple surprises, but you'll have to hang on, because that's not what our topic is about this week. This week, we are talking about mass plantings. Mass planting as a landscape technique and impactful way to make your landscape or someone else's landscape just that much more wow factored. So, I'm glad you're here. I am kind of the proud papa of a first year baby going on, and let's get this thing rolling, shall we? Hey, I'm Matt, and you can call me Coach. Every Friday, I bring with you landscape techniques, design concepts, and theories in hopefully a very easy to understand format so you can go out and tackle a landscape project yourself. Get the professional results that you want under your own steam, be very self-reliant in this day and age, and save a boatload of money in the process. Heck, you know, after 20-plus year career in the green industry, as a self-employed landscape designer and contractor, retail nursery manager, educated in horticulture, and an educator, I bring with me a lot of knowledge and experience that I want to share with you, the new, modern, educated, self-reliant homeowner of today. All right, hey, you know, there's no big fireworks necessarily here, but we are going to talk about our anniversary at the end of the show. Right now, let's delve into this mass planting and how it can improve your wow factor in your landscape as well. Now, I looked up a couple definitions of mass planting. I saw it on Wikipedia, and I think I saw it on another website somewhere. I came up with my own, and it was pretty close to what I saw on Wikipedia. I'll put it right below me as well. But mass planting is an installation of a singular plant in a specific area for an impactful landscape effect. How's that? That's pretty darn close to what Wikipedia says. And I came up with that myself. So, a singular plant. Yes, in theory, no in practical application. Because why? You can have mass planting of more than one plant in a grouped area. And you can have 20 of one thing, and you can have 15 of another, and you can have 32 of another. It's still mass planting, but when those plants come into their own, whether it be size or color or shape, that's when the impactfulness really takes over. And if you don't believe me, as I have done so many other times before, let's turn to Mother Nature. Mother Nature is the master and original queen of mass planting. I hope you agree with me. And just to drive it home a little bit, let's think of this. I have been very fortunate to be in some places of our country and our continent when Quaking Aspen have come into their glory into their fall color. And if you think about it, Mother Nature just didn't always put a 1, a 2, or a 3 Quaking Aspen together. Number one, that's not how they grow, but number two, that's not how she designed it. So when you see something that's 5 acres or 25 acres of brilliant yellow and gold Quaking Aspen, who's the master of mass planting? How about the mass planting in the Northeast and the northern latitudes in the fall with maples and lindens and tulip poplars and all those yummy fall colors? Mother Nature just didn't put 1. She didn't even put 3. She put thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands for that impactful Mother Nature effect. Another example, and I hope that some of you get a chance, if not all of you, get a chance to experience this next one. In my home state of California, down in Southern California, when they do get rain of a volume enough that triggers this event, it is a showstopper. I'm talking about a state park down there by the name of Anzo Borrego. And Anzo Borrego, as these pictures will bring home to you, when the right conditions are there, it is, I'm not sure I have an adjective for it, jaw-dropping, out of this world beautiful. I mean, just look at some of these photographs that I'm showing you right now. There is such a mad rush of people to go out there and photograph and immerse themselves in this beauty. It can be oftentimes 3 to 4 hours just to get in the gate of Anzo Borrego. So there again, Mother Nature at her finest, mass planting perennials, and then triggering an event with just the right amount of warmth, the right amount of winter rains, and bam, there is some mass planting effect. Jaw-dropping, traffic-stopping type of events. And there's a lot of those, just not quite as impactful as what Anzo Borrego does, but you can see that all over the mountains and foothills of Southern California when it does get wet. The blues and the yellows of the balsam flower and the verbenas, holy crap, is it an exciting event to go witness. So back on the residential and ornamental landscapes that we discuss here, mass planting can still be used. It can be used with the same effects, just scaled down quite a bit. And then you can still have those events that'll stop traffic at your front yard. That will, when you have barbecues in the backyard certain times of spring, summer, or fall, people will go, wow. Because that's what mass planting effects do to people. And throughout this whole video, I know that I'm showing you, thanks to Maestro, I'm showing you examples of what happens when you plant just more than 1 or even 3. Let's try 15, shall we? Let's try 25, shall we, if you have enough room. You use them in contrasting colors. You use them in perennials and shrubbery combinations so that you end up with blooming cycles that are on the same clock. When X perennial comes in, X annual comes in. When those roses hit, so does that golden chain tree. And this is where mass planting really pulls it all together. You will have certain times, if done correctly, you will have certain times where people will drive by your front yard just to photograph it, if this is what you choose to do. Mass planting is a wonderful way to really set off your house, your reputation as a homeowner, and really complement your neighborhood. So last week's video, we discussed privacy and some various ways to achieve that, various materials. I'll put a link to that right here. But privacy screens and privacy elements in the landscape is a prime example using greenscape of mass planting. When you have a huge hedgerow of privacy screen material like arborvitae or blue point juniper or holly or English laurel or whatever you have, there's a shining example of mass planting for an effect, and that effect in that case is privacy. But if you took it one step further and tiered out that privacy hedge with a beautiful iceberg rose front and then perennials and bulbs down in front of the iceberg roses, there you go. There's when mass planting really serves you as the homeowner. Okay, so a couple of techniques that I want to share with you regarding mass planting. The number one, imperative, singular most important thing for mass planting is space. Allow yourself enough space so that the plants you choose to use are not overcrowded. They do the job you want them to do, but they don't get so scrunched that they can't come into their own because they're slammed right up against their neighbor. I see this a lot with people planting Colorado blue spruce, sometimes arborvitae, other types of evergreen conifers, and they plant them too close together and they get this bad die out in the middle of it. And that's a sign that you didn't allow the plant to come into itself before all the sunlight and everything got robbed, and now it's just dying off in the middle. And it kind of defeats the purpose. Same thing with shrubbery and perennial beds. You know, if you have a perennial that is supposed to get 2 foot by 2 foot in its own realm, don't plant them 8 inches apart. Don't plant them 12 inches apart. You plant them 2 feet apart or more, and then allow that plant to become maximum. And the other imperative to mass planting is patience. Oftentimes, especially with perennials, you're not going to get that wow factor till probably your 2nd year. After a little bit of pruning in fall and winter, your 2nd year is when you're really going to have that, holy crap, did you see that? And then car goes in reverse. What I do suggest if you go with perennials is use annuals that first year for the wow effect, and then take those out and let the perennials do their thing the 2nd year. The other thing is maintenance. Maintenance in a mass planting technique can often be whittled down and much easier because you're not taking care of 10 or 12 different kinds of plant material that require deadheading, feeding, pruning, and you're having to be in one bed all the time doing this. If you have just 2 or 3 and they're massed together, then the maintenance angle of this becomes rather simplified. Would you agree with me there? So if you had a whole bunch of knockout roses, then you know after that first flush of bloom and they're going through their cycle, you can go in mass and deadhead them all out and wait for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th blooms. So when it comes to shrubbery, one mass planting that I have used and share it with you is I have a plant of the week by the name, I got 2 plants of the week that I've used in mass planting. Number 1 is the black diamond crepe myrtle in the multi-trunk form. The other one in front of it is sunshine ligustrum or golden barberry or gold mound spirea. And in front of that is purple pixie loropetalum mixed in with moonbeam coreopsis. There's a wow bed, and every one of those that I've ever put in, I have never had anybody say anything negative, not one. It's really a very nice contrasting foliage and then also very contrasting colors. Check it out. So if you're considering a landscape project, maybe you go with a mass planting theme as part or all of your landscape. A little due diligence is going to be in order for you to pair up the trees, the shrubs, the perennials, the annuals, the bulbs, whatever you want. Just a little bit of planning goes a long way. A couple, 2 or 3 recon trips to the nursery. And remember the time of year you're going to undertake the project. Go when there is the most availability. That's always mid to late spring and early summer. If you decide to do a fall planting, you're probably going to have to hold off on some things until that availability comes the following spring. Okay, so that's the educational part. Now let's talk about our first anniversary, shall we? We've got a giveaway, our first giveaway here on the channel, and I want to share it with you guys. Because we've made it through our first year, we've grown slow but sure. You know, we're coming in on 1,000 subscribers, which I'm very, very happy for, because in this particular genre, we don't have sex, we don't have violence, we don't have those type of attraction getters. Hey, we're an educational channel. We're teaching you how to make your landscape the very best. And back in 2020, that year that we had is when I decided to start this, because I thought people just like yourself could use a little positivity in their world, especially during lockdown and everybody staying home. Isn't it nice that you have someone you can turn to kind of guide you and coach you through? Well, that was the whole premise behind the channel. So what do we got? We've got our first giveaway. 2 copies of my ebook, Landscaping Simplified, is going to 2 lucky winners. We are pulling it from our email list on our Yard Coach crew, and if you want to possibly be a recipient of this prize, email me, first anniversary giveaway. Here's the email address, as always, right there. I look forward to getting a few emails. We have an email list that's growing every month. We are going to take them and number them, and then we're going to cut papers up and we're going to pull it out of a hat, just like most drawings are. I hope you win. If not, check out the book anyway. It's a great read. It's a very educational read, and it's the baby brother of Homescape 1.0, our digital course that we sell. So, what do you think? Mass planting for a landscape and a first anniversary giveaway. It doesn't get too much better than that. Guys, I am so glad you joined me here today. I'll see you next Friday with a new topic. Off into year number 2. I am stoked about this. I'd like to shout out to Robert at Pergola, who happened to do a little bit of write-up on us. And yeah, he helped our subscribers boost up just a little bit. So thanks, Robert. Thanks, Robert at Pergola. Anyway, I'll catch you next week, guys. Get those hands dirty, stay cool in the summer heat, and I'll catch you next week. Guys, take care.